Hi, we're here at the Game Commission Open House on deer management with Jeannie Tardiff. She's a wildlife biologist with the Game Commission. Jeannie, you have a couple open houses all across the state describing how the Game Commission manages the deer population. Can you give me some of the basics?
Yeah, we're having a total of 7 open houses across the state to bring people information about exactly how we manage our deer. Right now we have 3 management goals in the deer management section, with the deer management, in the deer management plan, which is to manage for healthy deer, to manage for healthy forest habitat, and to manage to reduce deer-human conflicts. Now, the management plan is set to expire at the end of this year, so we're actually rewriting the management plan, and we're thinking about adding 2 goals to that plan. One involves recreation, which deer are an important part of Pennsylvania's heritage as well as recreation, and add a goal with regard to information and education, which would actually set in the plan specific goals and strategies for events like this. So we will have strategies and objectives where we would reach out to the people, have outreach programs and educational programs to bring deer management to everybody so they understand why we make certain management decisions and how we do that.
Deer can have a pretty devastating impact on forests. Can you describe a little bit, give us sort of a word picture of how a healthy forest should look and how an overbrowsed forest looks?
Well, if you're looking through a forest and you can see for 100 or 200 yards, that's not a healthy forest. A healthy forest is dense. It has many vertical layers. So you have a ground cover layer, you have a shrub layer, you have your tree layer, all the components of a healthy forest habitat. Most people, when they see green, they assume it's healthy, that it's good, but all green is not good. Fern cover, especially hay-scented fern, deer don't eat hay-scented ferns, and in an overbrowsed area, hay-scented fern can take over. It's very dense, and then after that point, it outcompetes a lot of that other vegetation. So even if you see green in a forest floor covered in ferns, that is not necessarily a healthy forest habitat.
Over the years, too, you have a goal about deer-human conflict. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, we manage deer, of course, for healthy deer and healthy forest habitat, but there's also the personal interactions with deer, and all interactions with deer are not poor or bad, but some interactions are. For example, deer vehicle collisions, deer eating your shrubbery, things like that. And we want to minimize those conflicts because we want deer to remain a valuable part of our ecosystem as well as our natural heritage in Pennsylvania. So if we reduce those conflicts to a tolerable level in different management units. Now, what one person tolerates in one management unit will likely be different from another management unit. So the way we gauge deer-human conflict and basically tolerance level of those conflicts is through citizen advisory committees. So in every wildlife management unit, we have a citizen advisory committee that brings in people from all different aspects. They represent different stakeholder groups like farmers and foresters and hunters and suburban landowners and things like that. And they bring in and they come to the table and they talk. Where are we? How much level of conflict can we tolerate? And that's how we gauge that goal and try to reduce those conflicts.
There's controversy. Some hunters feel there's too many deer. Some hunters feel that there may be not enough deer. There's views on all sides of that.
Yeah.
How does the Game Commission sort of sort through that with trying to look at objective criteria to use in evaluating how they should manage the herd?
Yes. And that's one thing. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence out there. And most people, if they're unhappy with the program, it's through their own experience that, in my particular area, this is happening, or in my particular area, this is happening. We're a statewide management program. We manage on the unit level. And there's an analogy that has been given to me that we can look at a car. Both look at a car and I say, it's silver, and I'm looking at, or you can tell me it's silver, or you're looking at the bumper, but I'm looking at the car and I'm telling you that it's red. It's mostly when people are unhappy with us, they're looking at a different level. We're looking at it through two different eyes, or two different perspectives. And people need to understand, if they come to an open house, we'll explain why we make the decisions that we make and what the rationale is behind them. If people understand that, they may begin to understand why the decisions we make. Certainly, we think deer are very important and our hunting heritage is